Good evening, everyone. I hope you're all doing well today. I'm just doing a follow-up video from my previous video just about a month ago, whereby I talked about a mobile-friendly dashboard built using mushroom cards. But that video was basically a blend of mushroom cards and card mod. So what I've done here is I have rehashed the dashboard to almost, not 100%, but almost probably 96, 97% remove the use of card mod within this dashboard. And that's primarily because card mod, in my opinion, and this is my opinion alone, nobody else's, card mod has great benefits. However, it has a performance impact on dashboards, particularly when you're using dashboards with mobile devices or tablets or things like NS Panel Pros that you might have specifically deployed in rooms. So, what I set out to do was create a dashboard which employs the use of mushroom cards, which was built by a Hacks community member. And if you look at his documentation, he doesn't recommend, nor does he officially support the use of card mod in his cards. However, several other community members and people out there who utilize his cards and dashboards use card mod extensively to apply changes in styles and changes in text size, change the background colors, etc. But I've found by utilizing that can cause problems, such as when you look at the browser page within the Google Chrome Inspector and Developer tools, that can actually plague your dashboard with error messages that the browser has to either process or it has to write it to system logs, etc., that might be causing issues on those dashboards. So what I did was, rather than employing the use of card mod extensively through the dashboard, I have almost 100% removed it from the entire dashboard. And the only places that it's used within my dashboard are on these title cards here. So that this one that employs the time, and then these title cards here where it says ground floor and outdoors and first floor. And that's specifically to do with an issue that I've identified with the title cards within card mod. And again, I have raised this with the developer, whereby the text itself is not correctly centered out of the box. So I've had to use some adjustments through card mod in order to move the text over a little bit to keep it in line right down the center of the dashboard. But rather than anywhere else, it is only used on those title cards. The actual mushroom cards themselves, and any type of those, the template cards, the light cards, person entity cards, you name it, whatever is in there is not using card mod at all. The one other place, though, that it is utilized is if we go in and have a look at the media player. This media player has been built by another, again, Hacks community member, and that media card doesn't have native styling attributes available to it. Again, something I've raised with the developer to see if we can develop some solutions to bring those into themes so that we can apply the theme changes to these cards at time of load rather than after the fact, which is what card mod does. It applies the changes after the page is loaded. So this card and those title cards are the only places where card mod is used in my dashboard. And after I've employed those changes, I get zero errors on the mushroom cards. I get zero errors on across the dashboard and other areas, and the performance of the dashboard has markedly improved since I made that change. So this looks very similar to my mobile friendly dashboard. However, I've changed the way that it looks so that it works better on a mobile device, in this case a mobile phone. So what you can see here is this is vertically aligned dashboard design rather than horizontally aligned, which is what my previous video was. And I find that that just looks aesthetically better on the page. But it's really up to you how you customize and sculpt that for yourself. So I'll take you through this, and you'll see as we jump through this dashboard that we can also, by not utilizing card mode extensively, we can switch between dark mode, which is what you're seeing just now, and light mode, and everything adjusts correctly on the fly. So let me dive through it. So at the top here, as before, I've got a simple navigation menu with sort of seven key areas of my smart home environment that I can access at the top here. And these are just using standard mushroom template cards with a standard navigate function. And that navigate function will move you through the dashboard to different pages, and it will also update the icon as we're going through as well. And that is done through a terminology called browser mod. Now, browser mod is the ability for Home Assistant to read information, specifically what pages you're actually sitting on within Home Assistant, and then you can use that information to then make changes or write code to change the colors of icons, change the icons themselves accordingly based on where you are within your dashboard. So in this case, I'm on a laptop which I have brought into within the Chrome environment, and I have mimicked how my mobile device would look on the screen, obviously slightly bigger to make it easier for you all to see. So on the home page, we're currently on the home page because we're denoted by this blue icon. As we move through the different menu items at the top, the icon will change color to tell you where you are within the navigation. So if we go to the lights page, again, you can see the lights page here. The icon has went gray here, and it's moved across to the lights icon to allow us to see things. Now, at the very top of this page, I have two buttons essentially, but again, they are just standard mushroom template cards, and those buttons basically change an input boolean, and that input boolean, essentially a yes or no, will determine what this view is down here. So we're in the overrides option at the moment. If we click into the presence option, it will switch the card at the bottom here accordingly so that you can see the presence information. So we can see presence is currently available in the property. I'm sitting in a room that has a presence sensor in it, so that will adjust accordingly. And we can see when it was last updated, when last someone was verified to be in a particular room. So we've got overrides and we've got presence. Overrides is the default, and that is away mode. I've talked about it in my previous video. In essence, what that does is it basically, at the moment, it's off, denoted by the green home icon. If it was on, it would have a red away icon. And what that does is it basically switches the lights turn off procedure from presence-based turn off after 12 minutes of no presence to a timed-based turn off at 11 p.m. at night. So away mode is driven by, are there people in the household? Are there the individuals who have the Home Assistant companion app on their mobile phone? If there's nobody in the house, then that will switch to away mode automatically. But I can override it here in the override section. Same goes for the evening lights. I've got a little instruction down there that tells you tap on, single tap, double tap, turns it off. And basically what that is that's an override to turn the lights or a group of lights on at an earlier point. Say if it's a really dark day, it might be really miserable weather outside, Therefore, you don't want to wait until the lights are due to come on, which in my case is 20 minutes before sunset. So I can override when that actually comes on or off. Down the bottom here, you can also see I've got 3 other sub buttons here, and these buttons allow me to switch through each of the rooms and each of the floors. So we're looking at the ground floor just now, denoted by the eye with a tick in it. So that is telling us that we're looking at that room or floor just now. If I move to the first floor, it will adjust, and over to the loft, and it will adjust accordingly. So I can move through, and the icon, as you can see, is changing color. So because we're in the dark mode at the moment, all the icons that are button based are white on a dark black background. But on a white background, these icons are black, so it makes it easy to see and determine where they actually are. Now, these are the lights in each of the rooms, just very simple touch to toggle them on and off, and the ability to control the brightness. If you want to actually jump into the room itself, if you double tap, it takes you into the actual room itself, and that allows you to then see the percentages of the lights, and it allows you to control the lights and what they actually do. So at the moment I've got 3 lights in here that are controlled in a single zone. So this is zone 1, controls these 3 lights, but you have the ability to turn off and turn on lights accordingly. And again, I have 2 menus in here, one to show lights, which is the default, and then if I click into the audio, that switches over and allows me to look at the audio for this room, in this case Sonos speakers that might be playing music from Spotify. At the very top, I have a bunch of sensor information, and that sensor information is telling me the presence sensor is detecting people in the room, i.e. me. The back door is currently closed, and then I have temperature and humidity, as well as a motion sensor. So you can see the green here, the green icon with a line through it is denoting there is no motion in the room. But just as an example, if I wanted to get up and actually move and show that things might be showing detection, you can actually see that motion has been detected within the room. I'm going to get up, so excuse me while I sit back down. So you can see the 2 colours are very much the same, and the icons themselves are orange through to green. Now the temperature and the humidity in this case, these icon colours will adjust accordingly based on the temperature range that's in the room or the humidity range that is in the room. So here in the UK, comfortable temperature that I've set to be green is anywhere between 15 and 25 degrees Celsius, so that will be a green icon. Anything above 25 will be red, and anything below 15 will be blue. So just cold, normal or hot. And then from a humidity perspective, anything between 0 and 40% humidity, it shows up as an amber colour. Anything from 40 to 60% would be green, and anything above 60% would be red. And that is relative humidity that is recommended for households, specifically around the globe, but more specifically in the UK. So 40 to 60% humidity is sort of standard within the UK for relative humidity and where it should be. In this room at the moment, you can see the humidity is a little bit under where it needs to be. And I can tell you just sitting in here that I can feel that that isn't at the right level. So things that might need to be changed or tweaked accordingly. So this is what a room card looks like in my case. Very simple, very straightforward, very quick to move between each of the options. And then up at the top, you can see the icons are fully coloured at the top here. So we've got all the icon colours, and that represents correctly the icon colours that are on the front page. So if we go back to the front page, you'll see the blue, then we've got the amber colour, then we've got the purple colour, then we've got the green colour for the cameras, then we've got the red colour for the security, then we've got the orange colour for the power, and then finally we've got the white, in this case, white on a black background, but when this is a light background, that changes to black, so it's automatic. You don't need to do anything. So if we look back here, security again, I have cameras, doorbells, interior cameras, etc. That you can actually look at and see out of at any time. The security option gives me the ability to control my home security alarm. And then down the bottom here, I have a bunch of different smart sensors, contact, motion, and presence. And we can see here in the kitchen, there's no presence detected at the moment, so it's a green tick. Whereas in the lounge, we have presence detected where I'm sitting at the moment. So lounge, motion, and contact as required. So I get to see a quick view of everything that the status of my household and the status of the security. In the power monitoring, as we're doing just now, we can see here, this is a custom one that I have built that looks at whether or not we're off peak or peak. So it's off peak at the moment, so we've got green to show it's off peak. We're currently pulling just over 8.2 kilowatts from the grid, and we're pulling this much off peak energy at the moment. This is the cost of EV energy that's being charged at the moment, and you'll see that this number and this number are exactly the same, but when we spill across to the next day, this number here will reset back to zero, but this number will stay as a counter, counting up to show how much the actual charging session has cost, and charging sessions can be over 2 days. So at the moment, the total energy driven through the grid is 34.7 kilowatt hours at a cost of £4.80, which is the cost of off-peak and peak, including their standing charge. Now you can see here that this section here is actually glowing, and that is denoted by some CSS that's doing a little change that monitors and flashes the page to show that the car is being charged. If I click on the option up the top here, single tap to navigate, I can go in here and I can actually look at the Octopus. In this case is a UK specific energy provider, and at the moment I'm using Octopus Intelligent, which is an off-peak 6 hours a day of off-peak energy, and the rest at peak. And then these are the dispatches, i.e. when the energy is coming into the car. So at the moment we're getting energy from 11 o'clock to 6:30, and we'll get about 54 kilowatts of energy coming through. This is the smart charging information from Octopus, and then down the bottom I've got the Zappi information, which I have a My Energy Zappi charger, which is a 7.4 kilowatt hour, 7.4 kilowatt, charger that is basically AC, single phase, and that is charging my car and the other cars that we have in the household that are electric. So we can see it's boosting at the moment. This is how much draw has been taken out of it. Energy added today and last charging session, again, both the same, but this number will continue to clock up when we go over the time of midnight, and this one will reset back to zero. So if we click on there, it takes us back to where we were, and again I can look through different days, scrolling left and right, and that will adjust this page down here, whereas these values up here are driven by template values and sensors that I have within the environment. Last but not least, we have the info page, and the info page at the moment is showing us information about my waste, the different bins that I have. So I have a general waste bin, a paper waste bin, a cardboard, paper and cardboard, bottles, plastic bottles, and garden waste. So tomorrow, which is going to be Wednesday the 26th of February, this will update accordingly to show the general waste, and then on Thursday that will change over to garden waste, which is got a slightly different colour, brown in this case, and it would change to a shovel, and then that would say garden waste for Thursday. I've also got a status for the waste bin. Has it been taken out? So that the current status is it's been taken out, so it's denoted by an amber tick. If it was brought back in after the bin's been collected, you can then double tap this icon and it changes to a green tick. When it's not been taken out, it would show as a red X, and you would need to action the activity to take it out by single tapping the card. I've also got a sun clock, weather, and EV data. So the sun clock's just showing me this information here, dawn and sunset, etc. The weather card is using a template sensor that I've built that then pulls out through an array the current day plus the next 5 days of weather, and a function to actually tell you what direction the wind's coming from as well, because normally you only get this value here, the speed of the wind, but you never get the actual direction. So there's a little custom function that's processing that for each of the locations. And then finally is EV data. So this gives me information about the car, and it also gives information for the Ioniq 6. So at the moment, 49% with some driven miles today, 57 miles driven today. If I click onto the key EV6, you'll see it's 100%. It's sitting at 264 miles. Still in the winter here in the UK, technically. So when that goes to summertime, that range will be closer to 300 because the battery will be able to charge and able to run better in warmer climates. I've also got the ability to look at trip information. So if I click on this trip button, what we can see here is there's been no trips taken on the key EV6 today, but there has been trips taken on the Ioniq 6. And I can see that down here. So I can see 57 miles at a total energy consumption of 17.63 kilowatt hours. So basically, if you take that number and divide by that number, it gives you the average consumption for the car, which in this case is just over 3.2 kilowatt miles per kilowatt hour. I can prove that it works. If I click on this one, you'll see these all go to 0. I'll click on back to here, it changes. If I also click on this option here and change the date, so go back to a day that I know that there was journeys taken by both cars, I can click OK, and then I can close this, and you can now see that there's trip information for both cars. So on the 3rd of February, my own car, I did 5 miles, but the key EV6 did 63 miles. So we can look at information back through, and that again is getting controlled by a template sensor and also extracting value out of one of the attributes of the car's sensor information. So if I go back and put it into today's date, OK, and then click on the black, you'll see it's back to where it was before. Nothing for the Kia EV6, but something for the car. I've also got the ability to control refreshing the attributes on the car. So when I want to pull down a fresh set of attributes, I can do it with a manual button. That basically polls both of the cars and pulls down a fresh set of the attributes. So if I click on that single button, it takes me back to where I was before. One thing I forgot to show you here is if we look at the general waste here, if I actually click on this general waste, it's going to show me the next upcoming waste items that are due to be collected. So if I click on this, you'll see it expands out and it gives me the garden waste is next after general waste, then the paper and cardboard is the following week, and then the following week after that it cycles back to the general waste again. So it's a really good way of being able to determine what is due to be collected and what isn't. So click it again, hides that information for you. So as we've done before, what you can see here on the home page is we've got the icon for each of the rooms. The icon color is determining is the doors in those rooms to the outside of the property where applicable. If they're open, that icon would be red. If it's closed, the icon is green. The other little icon, the badge icon at the top right here, above the lounge, is actually denoting that there's presence being detected in that room. So as I did before, each room has one of these. So if I go back to the home page and have a look at the kitchen's got the same kind of thing, a consistent look and feel across the board as we look with things. If I look at a room I know has got a higher humidity, just to show you the difference in the colours. If I go into the bathroom, you can see that the temperature in the bathroom, because it's next to the cylinder cupboard where the hot water tank is, the temperature in that room is always slightly hotter than the rest of the house, and also the humidity is considerably higher than it is here in the lounge. So you can see that the icons are different colours, in this case red. So I can show you now, by switching and running a theme update and change, what this looks like in a white background and how much of a change that actually makes to you. So if I apply a change right now, you'll see that the dashboard goes white, does a wee refresh just to pull everything down, and now you can see that the dashboard is so much cleaner in a white background and so much easier to see. But again, the icons and the navigation and the experience is much, much better. So if I then click through, you get the same consistency across the board, and as we're scrolling through, what you'll notice is when we get to the eye at the end here, instead of it being white on a dark background, it's now going to be black on a white background, as you can see here. So it's adjusting the color of the icon so that it can be seen easier. And you can also see here that the icons, excuse me a minute, that the icons themselves are, I proved my point. The humidity in the room is it's very dry in this room, so my throat just gets a little bit tickly there. Excuse me while I take a drink. So you can see here that the icons themselves are changed from a white icon in a black background to a black icon in a white background. So rather than jumping through the same thing I've just done on there, you can quite easily see that this code that I've designed here is adjusting everything accordingly, and it works on a white background and a dark background. The other thing I have here is I'm employing the use of kiosk mode to hide the header bar at the top here, and that is controlled by the time on the home page. So if you click on the time, it pops out the header bar, and then if I click on it again, it closes it down so that it gives me the maximum amount of room that I can have on my dashboard to fit everything in. So that's a little bit of an update from where I was the last time, a wee bit more information about how things are done. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to do a follow-up video to this to actually show you some of the back-end code that is controlling how this all hangs together, so that you can see for yourself what you need to do in order to get this kind of experience. And hopefully from there, you can take what you need out of it and design something meaningful for yourself. And if you do like the content that I'm doing, please like the video. It doesn't cost you anything to do that. Equally, if you like some of what you hear and you want to hear more, and you want to hear more about some great products that I'm about to install on the property and other rooms in the house, then join the channel. Again, it doesn't cost you anything, but it allows me to see that this content is relevant to you. And if you want to ask a question, please drop me a comment. I'll always do my best to answer any questions that you have related to technology, smart homes, and all of the things in the ecosystem that help you to design something yourself. So thanks very much everyone for joining me on the video, and I will catch you on the next one. Cheers.